actually, we are quite happy. If we had to do it the same again, we would do it immediately.
So the following is a conversation with an amazing person named Martine. Her and her husband are from Belgium. They've been traveling to Thailand for decades, and just over 4 years ago really started to call this country home, and now live here on Thailand's LTR Visa program. That's how they really retired to Thailand. Now, a few years back, they were in Belgium, visited the doctor there, and Martine's husband was diagnosed with cancer. And they had a pretty big decision to make as to where to get treatment. Do they stay in Belgium, go through treatment there, or do they return to Thailand and go through it here? Well, they picked Thailand. And 3.5 years later, they're still enjoying Bangkok as much as possible. But really the purpose of this video is to dig in to Martine's feelings on Thai doctors, on the private Thai medical system, and also understand exactly how everything worked out with their insurance company as far as the claims process, as far as what happened after that first year of diagnosis, and really get into the weeds there. It's a bit of a heavy video. It's a tough topic. I just can't say enough how much I appreciate Martine for coming on the channel and sharing some of this information. I think it's really, really important for people that are considering relocating over here. So with that said, let's get into it.
I can explain that it's a bit difficult, but when you are confronted with a difficult situation, you have to make decisions. And there are pros, there are cons, and Thailand was attractive. So that's the explanation, because we knew out of experience that we could be helped, that we would be listened to, which is not always the case nowadays in Europe. So the only problem is the cost. When my husband got sick, well, the first year, the treatment cost something like 5 million baht. Fortunately, we had an insurance, a good coverage. That's quite important when you decide to read what's inside the package. Most people don't do that, and they have very, very bad surprises. So you have to read again and again and ask questions also.
So let's get into that momentarily here. I want to backstep a little bit. So your husband, he was diagnosed with cancer. Mm-hmm. And did that happen here in Thailand,
No.
that diagnosis?
No, actually, we were back in Belgium 3 years ago, just for the summer. And well, he had a blood test every 6 months actually, and well, it was not too good. And our doctor in Belgium said, well, I think there is something wrong there. And so the first thing she advised, she's a woman, advised us to do, that was to undergo a CT scan. Okay, so we went to the best hospital in Brussels actually. They said, everything is busy in 3 months. I said, yes, but it's maybe too long in the case, my husband's case. And she said, yes, maybe. So finally, we got an appointment after discussing, and then they saw that there was something wrong, really wrong. So we had 2 possibilities. Undergo the treatment in Belgium, very cheap, or to try Thailand. So we checked on the internet and we found liver clinic, Samitivesh Sukhumvit Hospital. So I said, it's not too far from our place, specialized in liver cancers. So that looks nice. And we decided to come here. So we just arrived in Thailand, and the next day we met the doctor. Well, of course, another CT scan and blood test as usual. And he said, well, that's bad. We knew that. But at first, well, we were maybe a bit naive, but we thought it was for 4 or 5 months. But actually, It has been now going on for 3 years, and well, it will go on and on. So after that, well, we met the oncologist, Dr. Pushai. I strongly advise him. He's a great doctor, always ready to help you. He knows what he's talking about. Very discreet, but the point is efficiency once again and humanity at the same time, because it's really difficult to accept such a situation. Now we, let's say, are getting used to that, but it remains a big problem. And so we started, and actually the results were quite good. The advantage here, we have a telephone number with line, the Thai system, and anytime, any day, any hour, if we have a problem, we can get in touch with the doctor, and the doctor helps us. Well, he says, well, you must come at once, do this, do that. That depends, of course, but that's great. That's when my husband was admitted, I don't remember, 4, 5, 6 times, I don't remember, because it was quite often the case. Well, each time, every day, the doctor comes and checks. Well, we wouldn't have that in Belgium. But the problem, once again, is the cost. Fortunately, the government forced, once again, well, for once, I agree with the authorities, but they forced us to have a good coverage. And that was wonderful advice, because that's what we needed. But we didn't know that at that time. And you have two kinds of contract. You have inpatient and outpatient. And most contracts just cover inpatient and not outpatient. But that makes an enormous difference, because when you suffer from a cancer, you spend 1 day at the hospital for the treatment most of the time. So imagine, and each time is something like 250,000, thing of that kind. So imagine if you would have had to pay for that.
Yeah, once a month outpatient treatment for that daily.
Oh,
yeah.
It depends. It's from 200,000 to 500,000, depends on the medication, depends if there are what they call side effects, which is very often the case, by the way. And so if you have to get admitted because you have a problem, so the first year it costs something like 5 million baht.
So just to make sure I fully understand here, you guys were living in Thailand, you traveled back to Belgium. In Belgium, got diagnosed with cancer, realized there's some bad news. You opted to make the decision to come back to Thailand, start treatment here, but prior to the diagnosis, you had purchased an insurance policy before you even went back to Belgium.
Yeah.
And so when you came back here, that insurance company, Pacific Cross, that insurance company was good to work with?
I would say excellent, because actually the first year, imagine 5 million baht, it's a big amount. Well, they paid, let's say, 92, 93%. Here, well, I said, well, what's going to happen next year? They said, oh, you're going to stay because we are not allowed here in Thailand, that's what they said, to drop people. So, and the next year we got, of course, a new contract, same coverage, but this time, and now it's still the case nowadays, we have to pay 35%. But I think it's normal because of the amount of money and that we can continue the treatment. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm really satisfied with this company. Well, actually, it's sometimes difficult to get in touch with the right person, but by accident, I met a lady, Mrs. Afinia, and she's wonderful.
And she's your point person at the insurance company.
Before, I had a French-Japanese man. He was excellent, but during the COVID, he decided to go back to France. And by accident, I met Afinia after that, and she knows her job. She is reliable. She helps. She's helpful. Really, that's quite important in an insurance company, to have the right person who who listen to you, who know the situation, who trust you at the same time, because
Who also has some empathy.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word. That's the
Yeah.
word. But just to give you an example, it was about 1 month ago. Our doctor, Dr. Pushai, decided to, and he was right, to make a checkup with CT scan because the results were not too good. And so the day just before the CT scan, I got an SMS from the hospital, and they said, yes, but we haven't got the approval from the company. I said, never mind, I keep the appointment, that's too important, and we'll see. I immediately got in touch with Mrs. Finia. Everything was solved.
Like that.
Yeah, just like that. That's great. Another very important point for foreigners, Farang, they speak different languages, because it's important to be able to communicate with people, and so they speak English, but they also have French speaking people working for them, so that's quite important.
Do you happen to remember what the cost was for that 12-month policy plan?
Now, for 5 million, my husband is 70, so that's important. The age has to be taken into account, of course. It's something like 150,000 baht a year.
So you pay 150,000 baht per year plus 35% out of your own pocket of costs. That's, I mean, for sure that's more expensive than what you would experience in Belgium.
Oh, sure.
But like we were talking about off camera, if you're very happy and you much prefer the care here in Thailand and you guys can afford it, that's a pretty good deal to me.
You can't compare the quality, the respect, well, everything is on the same spot. That's another positive point. So we arrived around 6 o'clock, blood test, a urine sample, and between 7:30 and 8 o'clock we see Dr. Pushai, and at 8:30 we start the treatment, and at 10:15 finished.
How does it work now with your husband's ongoing treatment and medication? Do you have to pay for that out of pocket, or is everything included in the 35%, 65% arrangement?
Yeah. So the treatment is paid. So, and that's the medication for cancer, that's paid. No problem, 65%. The room, because you spend 2-3 hours in a room, that's paid. The nurse is paid. Gloves and things like this, paid. So the difference may be, well, I want a pill because I don't sleep well. That's maybe sometimes if they don't pay for that. But for little things, well, they are very good pharmacies, so, and it's very cheap.
And then how does it work? Like, do you carry like a Pacific Cross card or something like this?
I have a card, but you know, after 3 years, they know me very well, so I don't need anything actually.
Yeah.
So each year I give the new card because they have to know that I still have a contract. That's quite normal. But apart from that, they don't ask me for anything. No passport, no identity, nothing. They know me. My husband is called Mr. Number One because he's always the first for the blood test.
That's hilarious.
No, the experience. Well, of course, it's very sad experience, but on the whole, could be worse, much worse.
Did the doctors in Belgium or the doctors in Thailand that did the initial diagnosis, did they give an initial time frame that your husband has surpassed at this point?
Yeah, in Belgium they said something like between 4 and 6 months.
And it's been 4 years now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
That is so awesome, and hopefully that continues.
We hope so, fingers crossed, we never know. With those diseases, you never know, but the difference is already enormous, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. And even our doctor in Belgium quite surprised. When she saw the result, she was sure, well, it was in September, and she was sure that maybe he would spend Christmas, maybe. And, now he's going to celebrate his 4th Christmas in December. Everything is more complicated for him, but he still enjoys life. He goes to the restaurant. That's also the result of the doctors here. The confidence in the doctors.
That's pretty, I mean, this whole situation is quite sad, and I can only imagine that it's difficult to deal with and go through, but all things considered, like you pointed out to earlier, like that's amazing. He's going on his 4th Christmas when the doctor back home said he'll be lucky to get one.
Yes, and also no judgment, because in Belgium when you have a cancer, it's your fault immediately because you did this or you did that. Here, no judgment at all. It's that. And I think that's quite important too, because when you realize that you have such a disease, well, you think, maybe too much, but you think, and you say, yes, if I hadn't done this, I hadn't done that. But here, no judgment at all. They want to, the doctor never said that my husband would be cured. The first day he said, we are going to do our best, but he didn't promise anything. That's honest, I think. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, well, each time we see him, hello, sir, how are you? Each time I said to myself, we know, how are you? I have a cancer. But that's the way to start the conversation. No, really, I've been helped by Pacific Cross for the money. That's an important, financial part is very important, and by Dr. Pushai for the disease. And that's what I have said different times to my husband. If I had the cancer, I hope not, but if I had the cancer, I would stay here. I would see a doctor here, definitely. Even it costs a lot. Well, when you get older, you sometimes have a little money. Well, that's the way to use it, no?
Well said. Well, Martine, thank you for doing this. This is a bit of a complex, hard topic to get into, but I really, really, really appreciate you taking your time and getting to know you over the past week or two before doing this. And yeah, I appreciate you doing this. It's really, I think, important information for people. And
I hope so.
Yeah, I wish Alain the best of luck moving forward. I hope he continues to prove the odds wrong, and yeah, you guys are pretty amazing, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, but I appreciate it meeting you too, really.
Yeah, well, thank you. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you.